Welcome to another episode of Show Me the Firo, where we're joined by Lucas, and we're going to discuss the recent news and updates with the Firo project. Right, the first one, obviously, is the Community Fund Committee is now gone live, Lucas, and we've got an adjustment with the block time and block rewards. So, if you want to quickly detail those.
So the hard fork reduced the block times. It introduced a tokenomics change that was voted on by the community over the course of several months. The initial proposal was back in February. I think the actual date that it was proposed was the 17th. And so it lowered minor rewards, it increased masternode rewards, and it created the community fund. And so for the community fund, we are aiming for eventually having a quadratic voting system that you will have to, on this funding system that we have, be making a proposal on there, and then people can then fund it, and then the quadratic system would be matching the funding on such proposals. But until we have such a system going, we do need a committee of people overseeing the fund, and that's where the committee for the fund comes in. And so there's 70 of you guys, and you guys are currently kind of working on figuring out where to use the community fund and so on and so forth. In order for something to pass with the committee, it requires 5 of the 7 of you, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
To and agree with it?
Yeah. So far, we've actually authorized 2 proposals. One is to transfer Lucas from the dev team to report to the CFC committee. The other one is we transferred a community manager from the Philippines over called Luke. So 2 have been passed so far. I've put a thread on the forum for people to check out, and this is regarding an integration with MyCrypto checkouts. I want to thank first of all Dev Warrior, who helped me out with a few technical questions I had when I was trying to put together this proposal. And Lucas, you you posted the Coinbase, the Coinbase payments thing on Discord the other day, which kind of inspired me to move my butt and get it going. And that was where Coinbase was essentially geo-tracking its users every time they make a payment.
I have to confess, I don't think I posted that. I think there was somebody else that posted that.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I might have forgot. I've had to post a lot of things
I thought you did.
Reading a bunch of articles.
Okay.
But I feel like it was somebody else that posted it.
Right. Well, what got me thinking is, I've got a website, and we accept payments and stuff online, and there's no essentially decentralized way, no KYC-less way, at least for the merchant, to accept payments or do commerce at all online if I want to accept Firo. I looked at all the plugins on WordPress, and WordPress accounts for 60% of the entire websites on the internet. And WooCommerce, for instance, is I think around 30%. So it's a huge swath of the internet that it would affect, and there's just no solutions for Firo. And so I propose a suggestion of 3 phases. The first phase is we integrate with a plugin called MyCrypto Payments. No, MyCrypto, is it MyCrypto Payments or MyCrypto Checkout? I think it's MyCrypto Checkout. And they charge a fee of $750, and essentially you pay that fee, and they need to be able to access an API, and that's what Dev Warrior helped. But essentially what it means for the end user is you can, with one click, install the plugin, and then you just input your wallet addresses, and then you're pretty much good to go. And the downside to that is there's a lot of coins on there already, and it's not really going to increase the exposure for Firo unless there's merchants that already know about Firo and specifically want to include Firo. And also, Firo wouldn't be included on the donation widget, which is, for some reason, they only include the big coins, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, etc. So that's a shame. My phase 2 of the suggestion is actually that we build our own solution. And they charge their merchants, I think it's around $59 a year. And we could offer that service for free in exchange that we have, for instance, Firo included as a default payment option. So that way, essentially what happens is Firo is essentially piggybacking in terms of recurring advertising off the activity of other projects and other coins. And Ruben once said to me, why would people use Firo if there's Monero or Zcash and have more liquidity? And I'm kind of thinking, well, if the first stage is, for instance, the people need to actually hear about Firo. They need to be aware that it even exists, because it's a very small coin, and most people don't scroll to, page 6 now of CoinGecko or something. So there needs to be a way to make Firo visible so that people are at least aware of it. And then, of course, whether or not people use it, well, people don't really use cryptocurrency that often. Primarily, they're buying it for an investment. And then once they've made good on the investment and it's paid off, then maybe they're tempted to spend it. But, you'd make an investment in Firo if you believed that it had potential and had long-term potential. So if you begin to increase the visibility online amongst the crypto-centric and also the general public, then at some point some people are going to invest, and when people invest, the price goes up, and when the price goes up, people notice. Do you find that, Lucas? People generally chase what's rising?
Yeah, without a doubt, people chase what's rising.
And also what we can do is accept, with a similar business model, accept other coins onto our payment service, maybe some smaller coins, but use the same business model or similar of MyCrypto checkout, where we charge them a fee to be included into our service, and we use that to cover maintenance costs so that CFC can not be out of pocket too much, in terms it lowers the burden on us, and maybe even turn a profit. I'm not sure about that, because I'm not sure how expensive it would be to actually get this plugin off the ground and implemented and built. I would actually like anyone that's watching this now, if you've got any skills regarding PHP, Ajax, JavaScript, or anything like that, if you think you can contribute to this, it'd be great if you could leave a comment in the YouTube comments or on the forum. That would be really great. But phase three is, we could essentially, with this code, I think, particularly with if we're using Ajax for the comments, but we could essentially turn this into a form of crypto super chats, where we can have someone can send a payment with a message attached that automatically updates onto a web page, and we don't have to actually we could offer a service where the person doesn't actually have to have their own website. They can just log into our service, create their own account, and for instance, I thought this would be popular with live streamers, because if live streamers have their own page and they have a real-time crypto donations that pop up with a message, that's essentially a really good form of a super chat, I was thinking. And here's the thing: is if the live streamers have this on their YouTube live streams, essentially, etc., then essentially that's another form of huge advertising if Firo is a payment option to donate for questions and things, because everyone that goes to donate, they see Firo as a payment option. And I just think that would be an exponential way of increasing the visibility of Firo in the space. I'm not sure whether you've got any thoughts about that, Lucas, or...
I actually do really like the overall concept, because it serves dual purpose, because it gives us a way to potentially make Firo more fungible, and it also gets the name of Firo out there. And so I do like, from the perspective that it serves more than one purpose, versus just paying into straight out marketing, which would only serve one purpose. I get where people come from with that, but I still stand by the fact that I think there's other ways to tackle marketing. However, having it go through a method that would allow us to be able to use Firo, I think is fantastic. And I do think it's more important, fungibility wise, for a coin to be fungible, to have more liquidity, than it is for there to be more marketing for it. Because, as other people have said before, when they're talking about Firo, why should we hold it? Why should we get it? And all that jazz. And marketing is not going to solve that. You can shout that Firo is great from the rooftops with all the marketing in the world, but it doesn't change the fact that can you use Firo? And well, if you're getting privacy coins, like sure, maybe you're just doing it from the investment perspective, and I would agree with that overall concept. But you also want to use it. The reason why you want the privacy is so that you can actually use the currency. And so if Firo is to be money, if Firo is to be privacy, then it needs to be fungible and it needs to be liquid. And so marketing doesn't solve that, but being able to have other avenues to use it, especially more broad spectrum. Like for example, as you've mentioned before, the Dash cards, being able to load them up and all that jazz is an excellent way to possibly do that. I don't know how much is required for something like that, or if that's even something feasible at the moment. But something like the MyCrypto checkout, I think, is a step in that direction, which is fantastic. That being said, though, I know that one of the things is that if I recall when I did email them, as I was telling you before we started, that it's not that like for example, the people that are accepting it have to be willing to accept Firo, right, in order for it to work with Firo.
Yeah.
So I mean, we still need another element of like being able to get
Yeah.
another option out there and contacting and reaching out as a community. But at the very least, if we're on there, then that option's even available. Because if it wasn't an option in the first place, then there's no point in reaching out to those individuals of those businesses to try and get them to start like allowing us to pay with Firo.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like I don't expect the MyCrypto checkout to have a huge impact, but I look at it, it's $750, and it gives the existing community who will be made aware that this is an option now. And those amongst us that do have an online commerce website can implement it. However, I think the real impact is made when we have our own plugin. If we could build our own infrastructure, and we can offer services to users of other projects and bring them into the Firo, stratosphere, so to speak, right? And what I do like about generally marketing, when you pay like a YouTube influencer or anything like that, it's kind of a one and done deal, right? You get a hit, you get a little boost, and then it's short lived. However, if you've got someone like you've got Firo literally baked into the cake of, let's say, a popular form of service, cryptocurrency service, then at that point it's like a recurring form of advertising, a passive form of advertising that you don't have to continually expend resources on, and it just continues for as long as the service does, and is as effective, as popular as the project is. So I just think that would hopefully would be a good solution. I did want to suggest that at some point also the Dash card integration. That was something that I was thinking about too, that you mentioned, Lucas, and that was I think Ruben looked into Firo having our own debit cards, and A, it's really expensive, and B, it was KYC.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a fan
the option that was offered.
I'm not a fan of KYC. So for me, that's almost like a non-starter. Like, what's the point of having a privacy coin if all of your payments are tracked? It's okay for convenience maybe, but I figured there's already a service, I believe, called a Wizard Swap that swaps between Dash to Firo and back and forth. I don't think it's a very big service. There's maybe not a lot of liquidity, but maybe we can do something with that. And that is, and essentially, for those who don't know, a Dash card, you can you have $1,000 spending limit, and you can top it up with Dash, and the fees are really low. You don't have to pay stupidly high fees, and because Dash and Firo run on the masternode setup, you can, once you load it, you send a payment to your load address. It's instant because of the masternode network. So I figure with that infrastructure, as we share a very similar infrastructure with Dash, is we can leverage our masternodes and do quick swaps to top up our Dash card, and essentially we could piggyback really off the Dash infrastructure in that respect. And that's what I was thinking. So you could be in a shop and you can just automatically do a coin swap that then goes straight to your Dash top-up wallet address, and you can just check out straight away without any delay. So I don't know, I think that may be a good solution at some point. What do you think, Lucas? Any thoughts on that?
My only complaint I think I would have in that regard is the fact that I don't know if that would really do too much for Firo itself. because of the fact that you'd be swapping just to Dash, which, some people might just go the avenue of like, well, I just get the Dash in the first place, versus just getting Firo. And so, and then to top it all off,
But you could do obviously an anonymous swap to Dash.
that's true. I'll give you that. But even then, too, is like the other aspect is that um, it still doesn't necessarily help the fungibility or liquidity to it. Well, I guess it might help liquidity, but the fungibility not necessarily, because you're swapping it, but it's not getting used as necessarily a money. It's kind of like it almost reminds me of like when you go to places like a pizza joint that's got games, and you get the tokens, and then you trade the tokens for the to the games to get those tickets to then get the prizes, and if that makes sense.
But in all fairness, there's very few cryptocurrencies right now, I would argue zero actually, that are widespread used as a currency, because even the merchant, they don't hold the currency that's insta swapped straight to fiat. So really,
Yeah, no, that's true.
all they're doing is actually providing an exchange selling service that's
Yeah.
basically automated for you. So instead of you going to an exchange, selling and then paying with the proceeds, they do it for you. And that's what's happening. And I don't think that will change for a long, long time, until essentially either fiat becomes more unstable than crypto, or crypto becomes so big and market cap so large that things begin to be priced in crypto and volatility begins to decline. But for most businesses that operate on 5-10% margin and negotiate contracts in advance, you just can't operate business on crypto right now, I don't think. At least,
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair. I mean, like, I can definitely imagine that some of them are putting it on the side as a rainy day, but I can imagine that most of them are probably just exchanging it right out to fiat, which to a degree I can understand, especially with the market the way it is. Like they're probably a little cold feeted about it.
I think the target market is actually businesses that do have a higher margin that can stomach some of the volatility. And I think most of them actually tend to be like the small, very small business. It may be like the sole traders, the one-man bands that may be on a good income and would treat payments from crypto as really as a form of accepting an investment, as opposed to using it as a currency as well. Because why would... I'm thinking, if I'm a small business, why would I really want to accept a crypto as a form of payment unless it was to hold it? Because otherwise you're just
Well,
gonna
it
it's to dump it. Because
it's a bit. Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, because in terms of actual number of transactions, I mean, debit cards, PayPal, etc., vastly outnumber cryptocurrency right now. I mean, if you look at a company's sales, it's probably not even 1%.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
yeah, I'm figuring that is pretty low too, unless they specifically work for crypto.
yeah.
Because unlike, I know there's quite a few freelancers that they work specifically for crypto and so on and so forth. Kind of doubling back actually a little bit on this conversation, but because you mentioned the Twitch streamers and everything, I don't really know what the other side of the Twitch looks like. From the streamer's point of view or
I
anything.
don't,
So are you?
I don't actually live stream, so I don't know
Oh,
anything
okay.
about it.
I didn't know
But
if you
but
actually.
I do know, like, normally they have like their main screen where they can see like comments, and they could see like all, like when a super chat comes in, they get notified. Like some people have like a little separate monitor that they can see where the comments come in.
Hmm. Yeah, that I
So
know. But I meant
essentially, you'd
I
have
was going
like a
to
little
ask more
screen.
like,
Oh, okay.
sorry. What I was meaning to ask more so is like, are they able to actually just pick like what currency they can accept donations in? I thought it was like you had to pay through Twitch and that just paid them in fiat all the time.
Yes, you do. If you want to go through the Twitch system, or if you want to go through YouTube, you're basically getting paid in USD, that then gets converted to your local currency, I guess. But what I'm saying is you could bypass the YouTube system altogether and just have like a separate screen with, like, when you log into like the Firos service, you just have like a little window on the side of your screen. You see the comments come through, so it's like a parallel system just for crypto.
Oh, okay. Okay, got you.
So yeah, so you'd have like the normal super chats, and then you can have like a window next to it with your crypto super chats. And
Okay.
for the users that maybe, the live streamers that may have their own website as well, or maybe there's a news site, or maybe it's got nothing to do with live streaming, you can also have that page embedded on your website, so people can go to your website, donate, leave a message, and it's there for everybody to see. And you're sure that, for instance, the content creator or whatever sees your message. But I think live stream is probably a good use case for that because it's real time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention regarding the community that are watching this video right now, actually, and that is, as we all want Firo to grow, I think we all, as I put it in the agenda today for Lucas, is we all need to be firing on all cylinders. One of the things is the YouTube algorithm. It loves comments and it loves likes. So hopefully you can leave your comments regarding my proposal. If you've got any ideas how to refine it, that would be great. But if you want to see my proposal in more detail, it's on the forum. I need to do an official FCS, whatever it is, proposal, community funding thing for it. But it's about ready to go. I think I'm going to probably introduce it is for like 3 phases. Probably a vote on the first phase with a vote maybe to explore the other options to try and have our own infrastructure. But I think that's all we've got time for today, Lucas. Is there anything else you'd want to add?
I suppose the other thing I would like to kind of tackle is that, like, yeah, I do really like the idea of us having our own system for that as well, especially since anytime that we use a third party, as great as it is being able to use third parties that can provide a service and that they are specialized in and everything, there's always a chance that they can be targeted. And so, like, if we could create a system that isn't reliant on Firo's team and that isn't reliant on some other group's team or a business or anything like that to operate, then will be even greater steps towards like anti-censorship, which is really important.
Kind of a service that no one owns, but the CFC can at least direct.
Yeah,
right?
And so the only thing I've thought about in that regard and a little concerned about is because I know that you are figuring like transactions on it to do maintenance and so on and so forth, but I would like to try and see if we could find somebody that, especially if you guys watching have any idea about any of this, like what exactly would be the maintenance and upkeep cost for something along those lines. I think that would be like a real determining factor of whether or not it's truly feasible.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but I believe like the biggest things would be, for instance, Firo right now, it doesn't need like a private view key for its API to work, from speaking to DevWarrior. Monero, for instance, does need a private view key. When Firo switches over to Spark, it will need a private view key ability added to its API. So for most coins, at least in my opinion, I'm not an expert. If you guys can chip in, that'd be great. It shouldn't actually be that much.
The other thing I would ask as well is liability, because it's not necessarily a payment processing, right?
It's peer-to-peer, so the Firo plugin wouldn't actually touch any of the money. It just goes from the sender's address to the recipient's address. We're not a third party in that we don't touch money. We're essentially what the service would be is essentially a messenger service where we tell their website, oh, someone's paid you. It's just like a heads up, and then with that information, their system can say, complete their transaction on the system at least.
Okay.
In terms of regulatory pressure, we don't actually touch the money in terms of our service.
Okay.
So I thought it's quite a novel way to make crypto payments easy and convenient, particularly for the end user. Because I think Ruben mentioned, he asked, is it similar to my BT Pay server? I believe it was. And I'm not sure about my BTC Pay server now, but I remember back in the day it was an involved process where you either had to host your own server to then host a BTC Pay server, or you had to trust somebody else to host the server for you. And
okay.
It wasn't an easy process. This is a simple click to install. If anyone knows WordPress, you know how simple it is to install a new plugin. And then you just get your wallet on your phone or whatever, copy and paste the addresses, and then you're good to go. So That's all there is to it.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, we good to go then?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, okay. So if you like it, leave a like and a comment. And if you like the content, please subscribe. Later, Gators. Oh, that's all we have time for this week. I mess every end up. My God.
I mean, it works. It'll be a perfect meme.